Hey YouTubers, I got a little bit of a touching, heartbreaking story. It's kind of left me in tears, emotional. Heartbroken dad killed himself after getting embroiled in bitter tug-of-love battle over his 5-year-old daughter. Christopher Brown, 26, was found dead in the home he shared with his parents. This is heartbreaking, guys. It's breaking. It hurts. Christopher Brown, 26, took his own life after becoming embroiled in a tug-of-love battle over his daughter. Heartbroken dad was found hanged in his parents' caravan after he became embroiled in a tug-of-love battle over his daughter. Christopher Brown, 26, was due to face a court and had been initially warned he faced jail after he broke a court order banning him from contacting the 5-year-old girl's mother. On March 26, 2019, Mr. Brown was found dead at the same home he shared with his mom and stepfather in the South Shore, Blackpool, Lancs. A moving suicide note was left in his bedroom. Police discovered his body in a caravan in his parents' back garden. Mr. Brown, who ran his own construction business, as entrepreneur there, split up with the child's mother in 2014. An inquest heard he became distressed about not having access to his daughter, who had moved 150 miles away to Sunderland and was prescribed antidepressants. During the legal dispute, Mr. Brown claimed he did not have the proper visitation rights and tried to get a ruling in family court. He had also made several previous attempts on his life, including on one occasion walking into the sea at the resort. On New Year's Day this year, Mr. Brown posted a heartbreaking message on Facebook saying, "Another year, another smile, but not for me, just for a while. Tears fall, I can take some more heartache and heartbreak to see your smile just for a while. I'll fight for the delight of your comforting touch. Soul by soul, tear by tear, next year we'll smile without fear. I love you, baby girl. Daddy misses you so much." In February, Mr. Brown was detained and kept in police cells after breaching a protection and harassment order made against his ex-partner following a FaceTime call, and was ordered to face court on June 5th. So he got detained for making a FaceTime call. So he calls his daughter. His stepfather, Anthony Cunnings, told Blackpool Hearing his daughter's mother took her to Sutherland and Chris had restricted visiting. The contact was mainly through Chris's mom, but it was supervised. Wow, he owns his own company. He's got his own hardware. He was worried about the magistrates at the first, but then he found out that they were going to call his ex-partner to the court. He was told that things were looking up for him. He had been told he could be looking at a 6-month custodial, but once he had seen his solicitor and found out that she was being called and they had been looking at the evidence on her phone, phone thins were looking better for him. But the contact with the daughter, that was what I think was his main sources for what happened. Mr. Cunnings added, he had started his own business up, but work was on and off, and with being construction and building, you are always waiting for somebody else to get paid before you get paid. He had a few debts, but not massive amount. In wintertime, he would sleep in the house, and then summer he would go into the caravan. As far as I was aware, his medication got stopped in October by the GP because he tried overdosing on his antidepressants. When we thought he had been out all day, but to get to the caravan, you've got to go through the house. He must have been there all day. I don't think he would take his own life there were times when he was really happy and there were other times when he was down. But the day before and the week before, there was no signs whatsoever. This is really heartbreaking, somewhat emotional, somewhat disturbing, but somewhat also, most importantly, unfair. Christopher Brown was told that he faced jail if he tried to make contact with his daughter's mother. A coroner's office report said that Christopher Brown had previously been diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. He had attempted to commit suicide on a number of occasions in the past. He had been prescribed antidepressants at 8 a.m. on the 26th of March. His mother and father left the home address for work. At 4 p.m. the same day, Christopher's mother went to his bedroom to open the window. He wasn't in the room then. She says 10 o'clock, she went back into the bedroom to close the window when she discovered a note. Then they then went into the back garden. There was the mobile caravan where he kept his tools and were unable to gain access due to the door being barricaded from the inside. Entry was forced by Mr. Brown was found. Entry was forced and Mr. Brown was found hanged. The family the family stated he had been diagnosed with PTSD and had been waiting for an appointment to see a mental health team since October. When he was admitted to the hospital, having cut his wrists and taken an overdose, but since October he appeared to be coping and going through the family courts to see his daughter. He had no problems with alcohol or drugs. An unnamed officer who attended the scene of the tragedy said, I was uninformed a patrol and at 10:20 called to the address at Blackpool. That was a concern for a male who left a suicide note. At 10:25 we arrived and the female told us her son had locked himself in the caravan. She had a note she believed he had written. This is very heartbreaking. With my colleague, we made our way into the rear of the garden and shouted, "Chris," and got no response. We tried to open the door, but it was locked from the inside. We forced the entry, and I had one of my colleagues say, "He's hanging." A statement from Lois Barr, a member of the mental health liaison team, said on December 8th last year, he arrived in the department by ambulance after being in the sea. So that's the story they mentioned early when he walked out to sea, I guess. So they obviously, they have no compassion. The courts have no compassion for fathers and children. The courts have little to no compassion for the males in any process when it comes to like equalness, or it's really sad. It's really disturbing, especially that he has no prior problems with drugs or alcohol. He left A&E at 4:30 prior to being assessed by the mental health liaison team, but then came back to the team at lunch time the same day. He did engage well at the first time. He was well kept and there were no issues about his self-care. He had gone to his friend's house. Chris mode was lowered, he said. He did say that day he had been struggling with his mental health for a number of years since 2011. He had ongoing issues in relations to no access to his daughter, and that had upset him. So this is what pushes. This is the pushing for a lot of guys, a lot of men, is the pushing. Pushes them to the limits is when they can't see their children, and that is. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide in the comments section, right? He said despite the court ruling, he hasn't always seen his daughter and found that distressing. In relation to the events described, he did make an attempt to take his own life by walking out to sea, but he had been drinking and he remembers that he came out of the sea on his own. He was relieved that the attempt to take his life was unsuccessful. It was agreed that he didn't need to be admitted to a mental health hospital, but he did need some long-term support. He did agree to accept Referral to the assessment and treatment team. His parents separated when he was young, but he had a strong relationship with his mother. Recording a conclusion of suicide, Assistant Coroner Derek Baker said, "This is a very tragic case. He was a hardworking man. He had not problems with alcohol or drugs. I don't doubt it was hard for him to run his own business. I know that he was upset that he wasn't seeing his little girl regularly. It must have been on his mind that he had this pending magistrate's proceedings, but I accept he was facing any period in custody that he could have gone through the courts to see his little girl." Guys, I'm really, really upset about this. I'm very, I'm upset at the courts. I'm upset at, the guy really tried. You could tell the guy was a worker. And it hurts to see. It hurts to see someone. It really hurts to see someone who's trying in life to, it hurts. Anyways, guys, comment below. I just wanted to share this story with you guys. It's a big eye opener. It's yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.